All right, so you're supposed to be finished by now, right? So I'll ask Amy, Amy Prasad.
Yes, miss. Yes, miss.
So you'll tell me what you have for abstract nouns.
Miss, list all?
Yes, love.
Okay. Miss, number one, love.
Uh-huh.
Number two, emotion. Number three, hate. Number four, aspiration. Number five, miss what the word hold on. Decency.
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 Uh-huh.
And number six, conversation.
Good. Anybody had anything different? So we have here love, aspiration, conversation, hate, decency, and so if you have those there, in the meantime, you can start marking. And the last one here is emotion, right? Good. So everybody has these for the abstract nouns. You can turn on your microphones to answer me if you have this, so we can move on to the other part of the table.
Yes, miss. Yes, miss.
So this part is simple. Everything that's in black goes in concrete nouns, right? So we have phone,
Mm-hmm.
doctor,
Mm-hmm.
computer,
Dog.
oh, dog,
Mm-hmm.
and ambulance. Remember, this was more or less a revision activity, right? Do I have all? Yes, I have all of it. Good. So everybody should have all of this correct, right? And so we'll backtrack a little now, and we will look at letter of excuse. Are you seeing this clearly?
Yes, miss.
So you will now head up letter of excuse. So you are heading up letter writing. That's your main topic, letter writing. And then you head up letter of excuse. So I'll give you a few minutes to head up, and then we'll continue.
Excuse me, miss.
Yes?
Miss, can you please zoom up the words?
Okay, no problem. Are you using a phone?
Yes, miss, and my battery was low just now.
Oh, that's why. But is it okay for you to see? Like, if I put it up too much, is this better?
Yeah, yes, miss.
I'll post the information in the Google Class. So if it's difficult for you to write as it is here, you can just follow the lesson. When I post the information, you can copy it then.
Okay, miss. Miss, did you post the exercise that we just had to do?
No, I didn't post anything we did here right now.
Okay, miss.
But if you have problems, I can do it. I can post it after we're finished here,
Yes, miss.
so you can get access to it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So this is a new topic.
Yes. You're supposed you would have. I'm expecting that you would have done some amount of work on letter writing.
Yes, miss.
So this is just to refresh your memory a bit before we move on to the other types of letters.
Okay. So I have to write this down right now.
Yes, you will have to write this as an example, the one we're looking at now.
Okay.
The little definition here, that is highlighted here. You'll copy that. So I'll start explaining now. So we're going to be revising the letter of excuse. And the type that we're looking at is the simple excuse that you are requested or you're asked to give once you have been absent from school. Now, knowing how to write a letter of excuse is not just important for school as a student, but as you get into the world of work, and if you're absent from your job, you're required, that is, to submit a letter of excuse explaining why you're absent when you return to work. The excuse that you write when you're absent. Now, this is a letter that is primarily written for the purposes of requesting to be excused having missed school in the said day or days. Now, when you start working, in some cases, and if you go to college and university, before you actually absent, if you know that you're going to be absenting, you're asked to write a letter before the, so if you know tomorrow you have to go to the doctor, you're asked to inform them of your absence before. So I'm going to scroll down a bit here, and as I do that, I want you to look at this type of letter. Now, you know the two types of letters, the two main types of letters?
Formal and informal.
Very good. So we have formal and informal letters. Now, the type of letter we're looking at here, which one would this type of letter fall under?
Miss Formal.
Very good. This is a formal letter. How do we know that it is a formal letter? What is the main thing you look for that indicates or that tells you that it's a formal letter?
Miss, we have two addresses.
Very, very good. We have two addresses. And so, I'll just do some highlighting here. Are you getting any background noise from me here?
No, Miss.
Okay,
No, miss.
good. So I'm going to just color code these for you, and then I'll explain. Okay, so we start with the address in blue here, and this is also known as we call this the inside address. So if you want to, as I explain, you can take little notes. So this here is known as I'll still send the information to you, right? This is known as the inside address, or you may understand it as okay, sorry about that, students. So the inside address is what you would commonly call the sender's address, which is the person who is writing the letter. Now, please, just a few things for you to note. When you're writing the address and you give the lot number, you don't put lot as we would have previously been doing. That is not acceptable. It is understood that that is the lot number, so you just put the number. So we have 345 Crane Housing Scheme, and then if you have some of you have a street that you live in, so if it's 3rd Street, 4th Street, you'll have that, and then you have West Coast Demerara. Please note as well that no abbreviation is used here, so you cannot have WCD. Everything must be spelled out. That is followed by the date. Now, in an examination or a test, the inside address or the sender's address, as you know it as, is worth 4 marks, and that is with complete punctuation, right? Any questions there? Anybody has any questions?
No, Miss.
Okay, so we'll go on. We'll move on to this recipient's address, and this I have highlighted here in red. So the recipient's address, again, is worth 4 marks as long as it is written in a complete order and it is fully punctuated and correctly punctuated. Now, the recipient's address is the person to whom you are writing the letter to. In this case, and in this type of letter that we are reviewing this evening, we're looking at letter of excuse. So we're writing to the principal of, so we start by, if you know the person name, you put the name of the person. So we could have had here Mr. Harry Narai, and then you have what is his job title or what is his position. He's the principal of the place where West Demerara Secondary, and then you have the address for the school, North Klein Portroy, West Bank Demerara. Please note again that the date is only placed below the sender's address and not the receiver's address. Also, I want you to understand that after you finish writing your date and you come to write the recipient address, you do not skip a line. So after your date, in the very next line, you continue on the left hand side. Then we have our subject. I'll rename the subject here to reference. So I had subject there. So the subject really means what is the letter about. It will give the reader a brief indication of what is this letter about, what is this letter dealing with. So the correct name for it is reference. And as you start doing business letters, you can also have the abbreviation REF. Okay? I'm spelling it out for you this evening so you'll know what it is. So you can underline your reference when you're writing. So I'll underline that. And then that is followed by your salutation. So we're writing to Miss Bradshaw, who is the principal here. So you're accustomed to having your dear just after the address. In a business letter, you have your reference or the subject, then you have the salutation. Note as well, because it is a formal letter, there is no chat line. No, how are you? I heard you're doing well at your job, nothing like that. You get straight into what your letter is about or the reason for you writing the letter. So now we have here, I am writing this letter to explain the reason why I was absent from school on the 17th to the 20th of May 2020. So right there, you would have so your first paragraph in a letter of excuse is to give the reason for the letter, and you indicate the days or the day in which you were absent. So your first paragraph is the reason for the letter, and the days that you were absent, you give dates. Your second paragraph will be the reason or reasons why you were absent. So you have to explain to your teacher, or in the case of you working, to your boss or your supervisor why you were absent. And so here I'll ask somebody to read this paragraph. I'm going to highlight what you have to read. I'll ask Blossom to read for us. So Blossom, can you please read this paragraph for us?
Start.
Yes, when you're ready.
I woke up with a bad flu, which was accompanied by a high fever and an allergic reaction. I was not in a position to concentrate or anything and had to rush to the hospital to seek medical attention. The medical specialist recommended that I take a rest for the following 2 or 3 days prior to resuming business activities. This was to aid my recovery as well as affecting other students with the flu. Kindly find the medical report attached to this letter.
Very good, thank you. Good. So the writer of this letter is very, very clear and detailed about why he or she was absent. It's a girl, Priya Prasad, I think. Yeah. Okay. So she's very, very fluent here, very detailed as to why she was absent. So she woke up with a flu, and that was accompanied by high fever and other complications. She explained that she couldn't, because of how she was feeling, she couldn't concentrate, and so she was rushed to the hospital. She also explained what was recommended and what the doctor said. And so please note this part here. She indicated that find an attached medical report, so that is proof that she was actually ill, and so that's why she couldn't attend school. I promised to study hard to make up for the time lost, and so your final paragraph or your final statement, your concluding statement, should indicate to your teacher what system are you putting in place. You missed school. I would have already gotten the work that I missed from my classmates. And, that when you're absent and you make an attempt to get work done that you would have missed, your teacher now can always say, okay, I'm going to help explain the work to you, And so the teacher also sees that you are very interested in your work. Now we come to our closing. So you have thank you, yours faithfully, Priya Prasad, and then you have student of grade 8A. I'll change this to 9A. You're now grade 9 students. And so this as well is worth 4 marks. Your closing is worth 4 marks. Why I'm telling you the marks is because you might take for granted these little things that you do. You know, your address and your punctuation and so on. All of it is when we mark it, you get marks for that. Your reference here is worth 2 marks. And that's it for a letter of excuse. Now, do you have any questions before I continue?
Excuse me, miss. After the receiver's address and location, everything, miss, do you have to skip a line to go write the reference?
No, no line. You're not skipping any lines here. And after the reference, when you write the salutation, you're not skipping a line again there.
I missed it about the paragraphs.
Well, because I'm using a computer here, the space that you see here indicates that it's a new paragraph. But if you're writing in your book, you're not skipping lines as well. I'll indent the paragraphs. You're not skipping lines, okay? But you're seeing all the space here because it is typed and because it's big as well. Any other questions? All right, so there's an activity that follows this. So we have a few questions here. And we're going to go through these questions to ensure that you clearly understand the letter, okay? So we have here, the first question is, who wrote the letter? I'll call on your names to respond to the questions. So the first question, who wrote the letter? I'll come back to the letter. And I'll ask Chandani Narayan, who wrote the letter? Yes, Chandani, who wrote the letter?
My earpiece isn't working.
Okay, so who wrote the letter? All right, so I'll ask Jason Marks, who wrote the letter?
Priya Prasad.
Very good, Priya Prasad. So when you're answering, you answer in complete sentence, right? Or complete statement. Let's go quickly. Where does the sender of the letter lives? Where does the sender of the letter lives? Gitanjali Rampasad. Gitanjali, where does the sender of the letter live?
The sender of the letter lives 345 Crane Housing Scheme, West Coast, Demerara.
Okay, very good. And we have now, which school does Priya attend? This is simple. Which school does Priya attend? Jonathan Ramlagan. Jonathan, which school does
West Demerara Secondary.
Pardon me?
West Demerara Secondary, miss.
Okay, so you're supposed to answer in a statement, right? Priya attends West Demerara Secondary. What reasons were given for her absence? What reasons were given for her absence? Is this Christiana Alexander? Did I pronounce your first name correct?
This is Prashana.
Krishana?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yes, so what reasons were given for her absence?
The reason for her absence was bad flu, which was accompanied by heavy fever and other allergic reactions.
Okay, very good. And we have our final question. If you were in Priya's position, how would you make up for the work that you would have missed? If you were in Priya's position, how would you make up for lost work? And I'll ask Rachelyn Fraser. Okay.
Miss, if I was in Priya's position, I would copy my work from my friends in class and so on.
Okay, very well. So that's it for a letter of excuse. So we were able to do 2 pieces of work this evening. That's very good. Remember, I'll send the work to you in the Google class. I realize that you all understand how to operate and access the Google class, right? So I'll post the work there and you'll copy. There is an activity for you to do with the letter, so I'll post that there as well. I must thank you for your patience with me for last week and this week so far, because I keep postponing your day, I keep canceling the class. And so I thank you all for taking the time to join me this evening for the class. I hope you understand whatever I did with you, and we will continue to work. I will inform you of the next class.